Welcome to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Casey Porter here, joined by Coach Barikoff. Coach, it's been a really good stretch of baseball for the Dodgers, not the last two nights. So kind of dive into where you're at right here.
You know, here's what I think. It's getting towards the end of the season, and these things happen. I mean, I was impressed. I'm not impressed. 3 errors in 1 inning was really a bummer because the Dodgers have played really good baseball. But you know what? It's baseball. The Cubs are hot. They're playing well. They're a great road team. They're not a good home team. And they're needing to have these wins. And the Dodgers just haven't played well for 2 games. And, you know, I think they're going to right the ship tonight. I'm a little concerned. We got Bobby Miller going tonight. I mean, this is like make or break for Bobby Miller. But, hey, we're still, 4 games up? I would like to be playing better, Casey, but you know what? This is called Major League Baseball, and we're in the thick of it right now, and we're just not playing it great. Right, these last 2 games, not great at the moment, but we're going to get this thing locked in tonight. I could feel it.
Yeah. Here's the thing, a question I have for you, though. Okay,
Yep.
So the Dodgers are very analytical the way they put their lineups together. Some, like Gavin Lux, doesn't play some games. Will Smith doesn't play other games. So where are you at as far as lineup? Are you ready to just put your best 8 dudes out there to hell with all the matchups and all that? Or do you like the analytical aspect of it? Where are you at with that?
So you saw my tweet.
Yeah, I cheated, Coach.
Listen, if you follow me on social media, and I was just talking, I'm going to drop a name, Ray Lokar. He's a Dodger guy. He gives tours at Dodger Stadium. He is very vocal in support of Dave Roberts, like I am. He's a former high school coach out there. We were just talking today. I said to Ray, I would just love to have like some old school baseball where every single game, regardless of the matchup, you throw your best 8 guys out there and you see what happens. I would just love to see throw your best 8 guys out there regardless of the analytics. And this is not anything towards Dave Roberts. This is just me, an old school baseball guy talking. I would love to see a lineup every single day go out there like it used to be in baseball. I'm watching the Pete Rose documentary right now on HBO Max. Those lineups never changed. It was this
right.
time. For people, I use this reference a lot, Casey. For people out there that play Stratomatic baseball, I look at the old lineups when I play. Those lineups never changed. That's the thing with the Dodgers and Major League Baseball currently. The lineups change constantly. I would just love to see guys get everyday single regular at bats heading into the playoffs, and then make your decision off of that. That's just me. I know it sounds crazy.
Will Smith going to get hot?
Yeah, I'm just still going to keep believing in Will Smith. He's Will Smith, man. He's got to, right?
Absolutely. We're going to get Teo back?
Yeah, he's starting tonight. That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a great sign.
That is. So if Max Muncy can get back to being the Max Muncy that we all know, he had a home run last night, and then Will Smith can get hot. Teo Hernandez is back, and he just is the Teo Hernandez he's been all year long. Gavin Lux continues to play the way he is. And then Tommy Edman, like I said earlier this morning, if he just can have that OPS around 800 and hit 250, 260, hey, this is an offense that is really, really good. I know the Dodgers have lost 2 games in a row, but there's a lot of excitement behind that.
Yeah, and I want to go on record as saying I was a little iffy and worried about the Edman deal. What a great job by the Dodgers on this guy. I mean,
yeah.
He's grown, but I'm a big Dodger fan regardless of who's out there. That's another thing I was talking about with Ray, is I just don't understand why certain Dodger fans don't want to be fans of their own guys. I was a little iffy on Edman. I didn't get the move. I do sure get it now, and I'm all for it. I love Tommy Edman. I love what he's doing. He's clutch. Yes. I think Muncy being healthy, getting back is going to be great. Will Smith's going to start hitting again. But, like, the thing that we need to talk about is Flattery, Yamamoto.
Yeah.
Right? Those guys get going. You've got Glasnow, who I guess had a good bullpen session. Boy, the Dodgers starting pitching could be really, really good going in. And let's not forget Tony Gonsolin. I don't know what his plans are for us, but Gonsolin looked good here down in Oklahoma City the other night.
Yeah, likely probably for next year, but it could be for this year if he just lights it up and feels great. And then I think probably some things don't go the way that the Dodgers would. I think it would take some like failures at the major league level at this point. So if everything actually goes correctly, then probably it's next year for Tony Gonsolin. So let's kind of, from that vein, I kind of hope it is next year for him, because that means that all your other plans actually worked out for you. So, yeah, I think as you go into the playoffs, if you have Glass now, Yamamoto, Flaherty, okay, Gavin Stone's out. We'll see with Bobby Miller, Landon Knack, whoever else it might be at that point. I think the way they structure the playoffs, 3 is enough if everything goes right to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, if everything goes right, that's a pretty doggone good feeling going into a playoff series. And then you figure out what you're going to do with Kershaw. Is he a one-inning guy? Buehler, one-inning guy? I don't know. Landon Knack would be this wild card for me to see, because I love Landon Knack. You're the biggest Landon Knack guy out there, so I mean that would be exciting. And then you got to figure maybe a bullpen game for one of those games, like where the Dodgers analytically match up everything how they want it to go.
Yeah.
But a healthy bullpen with a healthy 3 starters, you've got to feel really good as a Dodger fan. And it's now time for those guys. Like, it's going to be easy for people to say Dave Roberts this and Dave Roberts that, but Dave Roberts is putting the best team out there. Now it's time for these guys to produce when we get to the playoff times, because that's a pretty formidable lineup and pitching staff.
Totally agree. Ela Shiva is in the house tonight, says that we lost last night because of the defense. And, hey, that's one thing when you got Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the bump and he's striking out 8 guys and not giving any other free baseball by walking 0. It's another if it's a bullpen game or a down staff type of guy. You can't play that defense for those guys, especially like, I know Landon Knack struck out some guys, but typically speaking, he's a very high execution guy. But if you're in those types of games, defense is going to be a premium. So I do think Dodgers fans have a right to be a little bit kind of miffed at the way the Dodgers played defense last night.
Yeah, no doubt, Casey. I was a little miffed myself, and we're not used to that. And I hope we got that out of our system, because it was very strange to see. Dodgers are not, I don't know what the numbers are. They're not just this phenomenal defensive team, but they don't make mistakes. And it was interesting to see that last night, because 2 days ago, I think Dave Roberts said, I'm more interested right now to see how we execute defensively, because in the playoffs, it comes down to 1 or 2 mistakes, 1 or 2 fielding mistakes. And that's what happened last night. Could you imagine that if that's a fourth in the 4th game or something, and the Dodgers are up 2-1 and those mistakes happen? That's where I was a little miffed by last night, because you don't normally see that from the Dodgers.
Absolutely. Coach Barakoff's on. It's Wednesday night, which means that we are having a great crowd logging on. It happens every single time. Craig's in the house. Gregory, good evening. Our wonderful moderator, Gregory. Craig Osterberg, good evening. Mr. Classic, welcome back. Where the hell you been, man? Hey, come on back. We're glad you came back, Mr. Classic. I say that in jest. And so we have a Daniel Berry Sports Highlight is in the house. So a great crowd tonight. Diving into some of the questions, we have a light question here from our moderator, Gregory. Wants to know if you're Dan Quinn's brother.
Now, listen, first off, I actually have hair. I just choose this path. I'm lucky. No, I'm not Dan Quinn's brother, but that dude's a stud, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we have a comment about the platooning. What do you think about the platooning?
I get it, Case. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm also an old school baseball guy. I mean,
Yeah.
I turned 50, right? So I was lucky enough to watch baseball in the 80s as a kid. And it's like every day you rolled out the same lineup. I mean, if as a kid, I remember Garvey, Lopes, Russell, Say, Baker, Landreau, right? Sosha, Yeager. You knew every day which guy was going to start. With this Dodger team, it's like every day I'm looking at my phone, wondering who they're going to start today. I understand the platoon system, but there's a little bit of old school in me that I'd like to see Roberts roll out like 8 guys every single day and let them, I don't know, as a baseball terminology, let them get used to playing together. That's what it seems frustrating to me. It's like, let these dudes have some time together. They're always in different positions. We're lucky to have that, but I'm a little old school too.
Dodgers rebuilt their lead in the NL West by playing really good against the Diamondbacks and beating the Guardians and then having just a really good stretch, got it back up to 6 games. My opinion, that kind of gave the mirage off that, hey, we've had a good stretch here. We can kind of go back to big picture. We can start working on a few things now because we do have this bigger lead. I think the Dodgers, I know that the lead's back down to 4.5, which, hey, that could go away tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I think if you were to go to Vegas and put the odds would be in a pretty good favor of the Dodgers winning the NL West, just looking at the records both teams would have to have. So I think that's kind of a mirage. And why I'm saying that is when you're talking about Philadelphia late in the playoffs, I don't want to go to Philly and play baseball when it's 23 degrees and sleeting, like Coach Holt said the other day. I want to be playing in Southern California. So I think that we lost a game last night to the Phillies, so now they have the best record in the National League again. I think that's the biggest part of it.
Yeah, I don't want to see the Philly crowd. Philly crowd gets crazy during the playoffs. Like it's unbearable listening to all the nonsense and how loud it is. And I get Dodger Stadium is loud, but there's something different about East Coast baseball and the Philadelphia Phillies having to go there. And you're right, like Coach said, it is sleeting and cold and 25 degrees, and that's not Dodger weather, right?
Oh, no. It's not baseball weather.
Yeah, but the reality is Dodgers could have to go there in October or go to New York. If we got to the World Series, you could see the Yankees, Baltimore. It's going to be cold. But you're right. I mean, like, it would be great to get that overall record. And I don't like the coasting. I've never liked coasting.
Yeah.
I want to go into the playoffs raring to go, red hot. And maybe that's where this platooning is. And I don't know. I like it during the season. It saves legs, arms, all that stuff. But we've got, 15 games left?
Yeah.
It's go time now. Let's not kid ourselves. It's go time.
Edith Shiva says, so glad to have Teoscar back in the lineup today and want to see Muncy in the lineup every day.
Yep. I don't understand why Muncy is not. I mean, he should be in the lineup every single day. Seeing T.O. back, and if you listen, I don't know if any of the fans out there, the people listened to his interview a couple days ago before the Dodger pregame show. They asked him about coming back to be a Dodger, and he said, my wife loves it. I would love to be there. To me, that's a good sign because I like to listen to those interviews and kind of read between the lines a little bit. That makes me think there's been some discussion that T.O. is going to be back as a Dodger, and it feels good to have T.O. back. I mean, the dude just smiles constantly, and on a Dodger team that has a lot of veterans, T.O. is good for this team.
No doubt. No doubt. Mr. Classic is bringing their A game tonight. Edman's so versatile because he's a switch hitter. That's a big deal because we talked about those platoons just a minute ago. When you're a switch, you don't have to platoon because there's no left. I mean, you're always going to be left versus right, right versus left.
Yeah, being a switch hitter, I mean, and maybe I'm just crazy saying that you don't hear about it as much as you used to back in the day.
It's hard
right?
to do. It's really hard to do with today's pitchers.
Yeah, so having a switch hitter that could play all these different spots, and Edman's been really good defensively. So, and he's had some good, he had 2 home runs. He's made some great plays at short and center. Yeah, I love what Edman can bring us.
You're kind of connected. We have a comment here that somebody under Mr. Classic thinks Stone's going to be back. You have quite a few connections. Have you heard any kind of rumblings any way or the other there?
You know what? I have not.
I haven't either.
I have not heard it through anybody that I've talked to. Stone has not been anything that's been brought up. So, again, we've talked about this before, you and I, Casey. The Dodgers are like very mysterious on what is going on with pitchers. And there's been not much talked about with Stone lately, which, I mean, roll the dice, right? 50-50? I don't know.
Absolutely. No, so kind of a hypothetical here. Let's say Stone does come back, but it's literally right before the playoffs start. Do you just throw him out there and say, hey, you're one of our dudes? Or, I mean, you say, well, you don't have playoff experience and you haven't pitched in a month. Can't do it? I mean, how do you deal with that? That's a tough decision, right?
It's a tough decision because I think if we look ahead to the schedule, right, don't we go to Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
Colorado, yes. If you could get Stone back for the Colorado series, to me, that would be the series. And then you've got San Diego. Like, that's a scary series to me. I think that's going to be very highly. I don't want to throw Stone into a San Diego series.
Yeah.
So
coming back, yeah.
Yeah, unless there's that theory out there, conspiracy theories. Maybe he's pitched too many innings, and this is a way to shut him down a little bit, to rest him a little bit. But I don't want to throw him out right there before the playoffs and expect this guy to go out there and produce in a situation he's never been in before.
We've talked about this before, and I think it is unlikely, just for conversation's sake. We talked about just a minute ago hey, let's put the same guys out there, the same 8 guys plus whatever pitcher is out there that night. Forget the platoons. Let's do like they did in the 80s and put your best 8 dudes out there and see what happens. So you have these talented rookies, Dalton Rushing, Edgardo Henriquez, and those types of guys. So would you be in favor of bringing some of those guys up and giving them a chance? Or are you now in the mode, hey, we got to hunker this thing down. We got to start getting ready for the playoffs. We got to start getting our lineups out there the same every day. Which side of that are you on? Or are you straddling that fence?
I'm not straddling the fence anymore. I've watched enough Oklahoma City games where I love the 2 guys that you mentioned.
I know where you're going.
He didn't look good today, the pitcher. Okay. He didn't. I mean, I watched this thing. I did the pitch clock today, and I watched the pitcher. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to get anybody yelling at me. Not ready for Major League Baseball.
That's not an insult or a slight. That is just a statement. I mean, a true statement.
He didn't look good. He had to get yanked today. And Dalton Rushing, and you and I are as big as fans as anybody out there. He's not hitting the ball right now. So no, I think we're at the point now where those guys need to stay in Oklahoma City, continue to get reps, and we need to go with the guys that are right here and right now. And there doesn't need to be any changes made.
I just don't see the point. I think your bullpen has been just so gritty and scrappy and just overcome every single obstacle thrown their way, injury-wise or whatever it may be, that I just don't see the point of throwing Enriquez in this type of – you only have a 4.5-game lead. You're 1 game behind the – I mean, you're playing for – this isn't just auditioning. You're trying to – you don't want to go to Philadelphia as the second-place team in the National League if you don't have to. It would be a big deal to finish ahead of Philadelphia. I just don't see the need as much as I love Dalton Rushing. I think I was the first one to say, hey, here's the 2 untouchables.
Yes.
Here they are, and I think that, not to toot my own horn, but I think that played out, right? I mean, I think you've seen that right in front of your own eyes. But I have never been, ever, you know this, Coach, ever been in the camp of, hey, let's throw these guys up in the fire, see what happens.
No, KZ, and listen, I follow a lot of people that do these live shows. I follow a lot of that to do my own research to be ready for you and I. You have been spot on all of that stuff. I don't care what anybody wants to say. You've been spot on. But Enriquez today couldn't get the bottom of Tacoma Raiders, bottom of their lineup out. And what frustrates me is I love the guy. I'm with you. They are 2 untouchables. I'm as big as fans of those guys are. But when I'm looking at the Dodgers right now, they're not ready. He's not. No. I mean, he can't get the Tacoma Raiders bottom half of their lineup out. He's not going to go and be able to get Major League hitting out. And what frustrates me is seeing these social media people that they're going to post today. He hit 101 on the gun.
Yeah,
that's cool. But he couldn't get out the bottom half of a lineup in minor league AAA baseball. And Dalton Rushing's a stud. Like, this dude is a stud, but he's struggling right now. Why throw him into a Atlanta Braves or San Diego Padres series where there's going to be so much media attention? Like, those are 2 big series. The Braves are not just going to roll over because the Braves aren't rolling over because they've got injuries. And as much as I don't like the Padres, I can't stand the Padres, but they're not going to roll over and say, well, we're playing the Dodgers. The Padres think they're better than the Dodgers. So I think we've got to stay with the veterans. We've got to stay with what we've got right now. And those guys need to just stay here in Oklahoma City. And that's just where I'm at on this right now in this part of the season.
There is not a human being on earth that promotes Dodgers prospects and wants them to have more opportunities than me. Yep. Nobody. Yep. I mean, I always want the prospects to get their opportunities, even if it's not with the Dodgers. So I can just tell you, with as many times as you and I have seen them, if I'm taking that stance, then I'm pretty, dug in on it, if that makes sense, because that's not on brand for me. That is not on. Usually I'm like, screw it, man, throw those guys out there. They've deserved it. They've done a great job. I've seen hey, whatever. There's opportunity. I'm never on the, hey, let's just stick with the vet, but I am right now because I tell you what, man, I want to win a dang World Series, and it's right there dangling, and all the pieces are getting ready to come together. Don't screw that up, man. Just let the pieces come together.
Yeah, if there were 60 games left, this would be a cool, fun conversation for those 2 guys. Like, that would be time. But we're 15 games left.
Yeah, right.
There's just a few.
I don't get it. I mean, like, you're suggesting that we put a guy who's played left field for like 3 weeks now. I don't know how long it's been. throw him out there against the Padres or the Braves? When you're one game with 10 games left and we're one game out of first place? I mean, what the hell are you talking about? I mean that's kind of I'm getting a little fired up about it. And I'm coming that from Dalton's perspective. I just putting him out there in left field, I don't think is even fair to him.
No, I would not want to be Dalton Rushing. If I'm Dalton Rushing, I'm thinking, my God, I got to go play against so-and-so and play left field in Dodger
Don't
Stadium.
hit the son of a bitch to me is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, like, Dalton Rushing, his time is going to come, fellas and ladies out there.
It is, and he's going to be awesome.
Enriquez, his time is going to come. Like, those two guys are great, and I feel like I'm always negative about Enriquez, but I love the dude. Like, it's exciting to watch him come in.
You're trying to help him because you're trying to back people off of him a little bit. Like, guys,
absolutely.
He had Tommy John last year. He jumped 4 levels back up. I mean, it's not fair to the guy to think that he should be in the playoffs this year. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and it's just frustrating. And then, like, kind of off topic, hearing the thing that happened to Anthony Banda hitting himself, like,
oh my God,
I just can't comprehend, like,
dude,
like that. But
so you're going to put your personal emotions ahead of your team.
Yeah,
he had a moment where he did that. I mean, nobody will ever be able to convince me differently. That is a selfish move to do. Now, we've all done selfish moves. We've all done stupid crap in the name of competition, but to put your personal feelings in front of your team at that moment, that's exactly what that was. I can't call it anything different, Coach.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because he's been doing so well. I mean, he was a very effective left-handed guy, and Roberts and Pryor obviously trusted this guy. Like, that's what was so frustrating. It's like, I said it today up in the press box, and Alex, who works up there, Casey, you know Alex, and
awesome.
I said, can
one
you
of the best play-by-play guys ever, man. He's so good.
Yeah, and I said, what? And he goes, don't say anything because it's the Dodgers. You don't want to say anything. Like, leave it alone. And it's like, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, I don't want to knock on wood. What's next? Like, can we just get through this stretch, start playing good baseball? But I didn't mean to bring up the Banda thing. I went really far off topic there, but it just popped in my head, and I was really frustrated today about that.
Hey, I have a question. Gregory Casey, is that a Georgia Bulldog hat you have on? No, that is my beloved Guthrie Blue Jays, who I was the head coach of for many, many, many different years. And I have this on because right before I came on here, I talked to Kai Staley for my O-State Daily side. Kai Staley was a stud running back at Oklahoma State in 2000, from 09 to 2013 at OSU. He is a Guthrie Blue Jay, so, hey, I've known him since he was running around little kid. So I interviewed him, and I rep all my Guthrie stuff while we interviewed for the O-State Daily. And so I just decided to leave it on because it was the same colors. How about that?
I like
Coach,
it.
leave it up to you, man. You get me fired up every show. That's a great thing.
Love it.
Love it. Love it. Yes, sir. Repping the Guthrie Bluebirds today. Hey, here's a question, and this is a great question. This is, let's see. Oh, hell, I can't read that. Can't think of one. Okay. Did Andy Pages make a lot of mental mistakes in the minor leagues? Well, Andy Pages didn't even get to play Triple-A last year. So he got like a month of Double-A baseball. It was all in right field, okay? And then he didn't get to play any Triple-A baseball. And to be honest with you, he's always been really streaky. I've told you guys that even whenever he first came up. If you want Andy Pages in the lineup, you're going to have to deal with streakiness. And sometimes his down streaks last like a month. I mean, that's how, but then he can get hot and carry a team. As far as the mental mistakes, I'll say this about Andy Pages. He has always been so good that things come easy to him. You can tell by the way that he plays. The game of baseball has always been a game that has been something that hasn't been physically or mentally as difficult on him as it is others. So to ask if he's made mental mistakes, he's always been so good at the lower levels that, to be honest with you, the mental mistakes weren't really even a part of the game because, I mean, like 2 years ago, he was hitting all these home runs. He's always hit a million different home runs. As far as the base running goes, not really, but I'll tell you what, man, here's the difference. When you're in the major leagues and you make a base running mistake, you don't get away with it. So that's what he's seeing right there is that you can get away with some things in high A Great Lakes, Double A Tulsa. You can't get away with it at the major league level because they already know who you are and they are not going to make mistakes.
Yeah, I think everybody's trying to want to talk about who got picked off, right?
Yeah.
Listen, he's a rookie. He's in the big stage. That stuff's going to happen. Like, I'm a basketball coach last year. No excuses, but I had the youngest team in college basketball. It doesn't regardless of the level. Young guys are going to make mistakes. They're in big situations. I've seen Pages play here in Oklahoma City. He looked good. I didn't see mental mistakes from Pages. He made a mistake. But this is where we're going back. Case, if you want to backtrack now, Dalton Rushing coming up, that's what you're going to deal with. Pages, it's a mistake, guys. It's a mistake, and it's funny how Dodger fans are. We beg for him to come up and pinch hit. If he strikes out, we're on him. We get him in the game. He gets on first. He gets picked off. Does he have mental mistakes? And I don't think the question was actually getting on Pages. I think the question was, has he made them in the past? I have not seen that. But that's what you're going to get with young guys. They're young guys.
Yeah. Yeah, Evan Phillips had a rough night last night. We have somebody with the name of Evan Phillips in the lobby that says, I should get DFA'd for that 8th inning last night. It happens even to the best of it. Evan Phillips has been one of, and at times the best reliever in the game of baseball since he came over to the Dodgers. Dodgers fans are pretty ruthless. It is, what have you done for me lately? And so I get it. And hey, if you don't like that part of it as a manager or a player, then don't play for the Dodgers. Go play for somebody else in a small market where it's not quite as ruthless. So I understand all that part, but I'll go ahead and defend Evan and say, hey, he's due some of those nights because he's been pretty damn good since he's been a Dodger.
Yeah, and I guess what we're getting down to is, like, if that's going to happen, let's get it out of the way now, not in a playoff series where they're bringing him in and trusting him. When he came in last night, I fully thought, all right, we're going to get out of this thing. This is going to be a nice win tonight. And he had a bad outing. It happens. Right. It happens. And I don't want to hear that, well, we should have brought so-and-so in. That was the right move to bring Evan Phillips in, and he didn't get it done. That's just how it went. There's no, let's not, like, dissect this thing. He didn't get it done last night.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that simple, and I totally trust him to get it done the next time. Hey, we have a great comment here from Craig Osterberg. Craig always brings A-game comments, no doubt about it. He says, Dodgers don't hit home runs, they don't score. They had been playing really good offense. I'll say this, I did some research since September 1st. They are 4th in home runs, 5th in OPS in all of the game of baseball. So the power numbers have been good, but they're 11th in scoring runs. So that does tell you this small window. Now, you don't want to make small windows out to be make any more of it than you have to. It's a small window within a large season. But this month, the Dodgers have been very reliant on the home runs to score, and you know how I feel about that.
Okay, so I've been wanting to bring this up, and I would love to hear the crowd's point of view in case of your point of view. Ohtani leading off, is it still the right move, or do we need to go to Mookie? If you want Coach Barakoff's opinion, I think it needs to go Mookie, Freddie, Ohtani. I think this experiment with Ohtani, he's too free swinging right now as our leadoff hitter. I would love to hear. I don't want to start a debate. If they decide to go Ohtani as our leadoff hitter, the guy's having a historic season. I'm not complaining about this. But I just sat there thinking yesterday, I talked to another guy last night, another guy that does a Dodger thing, and Mookie seems like the right choice now as a leadoff hitter. Can anybody tell me that I'm crazy, Case? Can you tell me I need to back off this?
I would push back on you, and my reason for pushing back on that is the stolen bases. I think the stolen base. So your 3-hole doesn't need to be your stolen base guy. So he is a table setter just by how he steals bases. I mean, a couple of games ago, he walked, he stole second, and then stole third.
Yep.
So to me, that is your leadoff guy.
Okay.
Plus, oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, Dodgers down 1, runners at second and third. Who do you want up? Right? I mean, who do you want up? I think I want Mookie. I just, not that I don't. Shohei's a Hall of Famer. There is no slight intended to anybody in that. It is like awesomest, that kind of deal. But to me, that guy is your 3-hole. The guy that, okay, who's the dude? Probably Freddie Freeman would be the guy I'd want up the most. But you're talking about Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani. So I think Shohei Ohtani, I want Mookie in the clutch position of your lineup. I want Shohei in the Ohtani in the part of the lineup where stealing bases. Because, like, I don't want him stealing bases in front of Max Muncy because now first base is open, right? And I really don't want him stealing bases in front of Teoscar Hernandez because people don't realize when that hitter at the home plate sees the runner moving to second or isn't sure when they're going, that's a distraction to the hitter. So I want Shohei Ohtani up with somebody like Freddie Freeman, who already sprays the ball everywhere. It isn't going to give a rat's ass what Shohei Ohtani's doing. Or if Shohei Ohtani can steal second and third. Now, Freddie's probably our best situational hitter. So I want Freddie behind Shohei Ohtani because of the speed and because of the stolen base.
Again, I wasn't bringing it up to try to cause any controversy. It was just something that was brought to my attention, and I thought about it, and I'm perfectly fine with Ohtani. I mean, he's got, 47 stolen bases? He's going to get to 50. I mean, I think the big thing everybody's going to ask is he's going to get to 50 home runs. I think he will. But you're right. I mean, I think you put your first two guys up to get the most at-bats anyways, correct? If I'm looking at baseball the correct way, you want Ohtani and Betts to get the most at-bats. And I'm okay with that. I just wanted to see if any Dodger fans out there had thought about it, or am I the only one? And it's not like I'm thinking about it and I'm going to start posting like this needs to happen. It was just a random thought that two guys we were talking about. And I like where you went with that, Casey. What you said makes complete sense.
How'd I do?
Phenomenal.
Okay.
Come on now.
Okay, man. How was the pitch clock today?
Pitch clock was good. It was fast. It was a 3-hour game, but it went extra innings. Fireheisen gave up a home run, a 2-run home run to get it tied, which was a little frustrating. But
I love that dude, though.
It was a weird start. A noon start for minor league baseball is a weird time.
It is. It is. Was there anybody there?
Crowd was announced at 5,000. It was like field day.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's not bad. That's better than they would have had probably in the evening.
Outman got a single that turned into an inside the park home run.
Nice.
It was golden air.
I loved his bunt last night, by the way.
Yeah, Outman looks good, but I don't know. I'm a homer.
Oh, that ship sailed this year, no doubt about it, especially with Tommy Edman. Outman's playing for next year.
Absolutely. But Outman looked good running the bases. Rushing struggled today, but it was fun to see him behind home plate. Hosey, I like Cody. He looked really good for me, and but they got a good win. They won it in the 10th, so it's always a good day when Oklahoma City wins.
Oh, today they won again in the 10th.
Yeah, they won today in the 10th. Yeah, 7-6.
Wow. So 2 nights in a row.
2, yeah.
Yeah, my boy Drew Avens, who has been struggling, by the way. It was good to see him get the walk-off. It was really good to see Alan Trejo get that 0-2 hit, too. That was a lot of fun to see last night for AAA Oklahoma City because, man, that team had been struggling to score runs. And so it was kind of fun to see them rally last night.
Yeah, they rallied again. And I think the problem with Oklahoma City is there's been so much movement.
Yes, no doubt.
With the LA team and Oklahoma City, there's been Oklahoma City had it within like 2.5 games to win the second half to get into that playoff spot. And I don't think that's going to happen now. But, yeah, I mean, it's just it was good to see they can get another win and 2-0 against Oklahoma. And I'm doing the pitch clock tomorrow night. So It'll be interesting to see who they throw tomorrow night. I haven't seen who they've announced yet. So,
Fetty get any hits today?
Say that again?
Fiducia, did he get any hits today?
Didn't play.
Okay.
Cartaya,
day game after night game. That makes sense.
Cartaya, Diego was the DH. Russian caught today.
Oh, fantastic. How'd he look?
Russian looked good behind home plate. I like him behind home plate.
Yeah, he's a good catcher.
Russian, he's not a great guy. He's not a good challenge guy. He always seems to be off on his challenge.
Oklahoma City was 0 for 5, I think, on challenges last night. It was funny.
Yeah, I think Russian was 0 for 2 today. But no, it was good to see him get a win.
Yeah, that is absolutely awesome. So that's a lot of fun. Hey, you got to see Yoshinobu Yamamoto. You got to do the pitch clock for him in Oklahoma City. And the game that you did, it's just baseball's crazy, Coach. And, hey, nobody's ever going to say that AAA hitters are better than Major League hitters. Come on, nobody's going to say that, right? Yeah. So it's crazy to think last time he was out on the mound, like he was getting hit hard by AAA hitters. Like every pitch type, his fastball, his splitter, his curveball, all of them were getting hit. Like they all had average exit velos of like 95 or above. Then he comes up to the major leagues and he strikes out 8. He walks none. He goes 4 innings instead of 2, like he did in both of his AAA outings. I mean, it's just like sometimes baseball doesn't make sense.
No, I was lucky to do the pitch clock because it was one of those things where it's like, this is crazy. Like, I know the pitch clock isn't that big of a deal, but I'm watching like this guy's a stud, right? Threw 58 pitches in 2 innings, had a 17-pitch at bat. And again, I went, okay, he's probably going to have to do one more outing with Oklahoma City, wherever that's going to be.
I was
Maybe,
sure of it. I even tweeted that, and I was totally wrong. But I don't think I was wrong. I just think the Dodgers, you can't predict what they do.
So, yeah, and then you listen to his interview with Lisa Johnson. I told her I was going to give her a thing tonight. I told her about he said, I'm going to, you don't look at the numbers. The numbers weren't good, but I feel good where I'm at, and we're going to talk to the organization. And, like, you know what? I'm never going to question it ever again on those superstar guys, because last night he was lights out. He didn't miss a beat last night. And I was texting with my brother. I'm like, you realize this dude threw 58 pitches last week in AAA baseball. And he looked like he was in playoff mode last night. So that was exciting to see.
Yes. Gregory, our wonderful moderator, not a Georgia Bulldog hat, Guthrie Blue Jay hat. Yeah. Like I said earlier, I talked to one of our former Blue Jays who played for Oklahoma State right before we came on here. Okay, so Bobby Miller, coach, he has all the stuff. You've seen him in AAA Oklahoma City. You've seen the good outings. You've seen the bad outings at AAA Oklahoma City and with Los Angeles. What do we expect tonight?
I've seen him with Tulsa, too. So
yes.
I want to see him succeed. I love Bobby Miller. I love the dude. I love his fight. I love his little bit of his arrogance on the mound. He looks like he really wants to be like this great Dodger. I'm going to say he's going to throw well tonight. I think he's got a lot on the line for his – I don't want to say for his career, but, like, there's a lot going into this. There's a lot of decisions to be made for this roster for this playoff spots. And, with Buehler, unfortunately, not having a good outing, this may be Bobby Miller's time. I mean, it is professional sports. Mm-hmm. They all get along, but they are professionals, and they all are trying to feed their families, correct?
Yeah.
I want to see – I'm just going to be positive on this thing. I don't know. It might backfire on me, but I like to see Bobby throw 6 good, solid innings.
Absolutely. Hey, our moderator Mike is in the house. I haven't talked to Mike in a long time. Mike does great work for Dodgers Beat. Go over and check that out. I know he's covered quite a bit of the minor leagues this year, and while he was with Dodgers Daily, he was the one who actually broke the Yoshinobu Yamamoto stuff. He was the one that was in front of Shota Imanaga saying that the Dodgers were not going to sign him. He's written a couple of stories about, I can't remember, Munetaki Murakami, a third baseman there that is hitting all the home runs. Roki Sasaki, he was the first one to even talk about Roki Sasaki right here on Dodgers Daily. So great to have moderator Mike, back in the house tonight. He was actually the one that asked the question about what are you expecting from Bobby Miller tonight. Mr. Classic says they aren't ready for the big series. See, I would push back on that and say the Dodgers have answered every bell whenever we've thought it would be a big series. Maybe not the Philadelphia series, but it's hard to hold them accountable with the roster they were putting out there at that time for that. So I go back to the Yankees series. Remember, the Dodgers were struggling, and people were like, oh, the Yankees are getting ready to kick the Dodgers' ass. Well, the Dodgers go in there and they win 2 out of 3. And then also, some of the recent series with Arizona Diamondbacks. Arizona have been playing great. In my opinion, I think the one thing the Dodgers have done is risen to the occasion.
You took it right out of my mouth, Casey. I would love for him to respond. You said it was Mike? Who said this?
No, that was Mr. Classic that said that.
Mr. Classic, please tell me, enlighten me, when have the Dodgers in a big-time series this year not played well?
With the right roster. I mean, you can't, when you have Nick Ahmed playing shortstop and Gavin Biggio playing, I mean, come on, right?
But Yankees, we weren't playing well. We went in there and took care of business. Arizona, we were the ones on here saying that's a scary series.
Oh, yeah.
Took care of business against Arizona. The Padres scare me, but like if there's one thing that I'm not worried about the Dodgers seem to be this team. It's like the old adage with any sports team, you get up for the big games, and then it's like these really good teams that struggle with these average teams. That's the Dodgers to me. I see the Dodgers getting up for the big series. That's one thing I'm not concerned about, and I would love to know what series the Dodgers had to play really well in this year to keep maintain this lead or build the lead. I've seen them do it all year long. It's these other teams that they're not playing against, like the Colorado Rockies series. That scares me because it's the Colorado Rockies, for gosh sakes.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Moderator Mike says not surprised on Yamamoto's start last night. He takes it to another level when he has to. Yep. Mike has been firm on that from even before the Dodgers signed him. going all the way back to his experience in the MPP. Mike was the first one to get on that train, and he's not getting off of it now that we've been able to see it at the major league level. And again, Coach, I think the biggest point to that is we see the Dodgers every day. So we see the warts, right? I mean, we see all of the defects. We see all of the bad losses. We see all of that. We don't see these other teams every day. Yeah. So if you did, you would realize they have way more than the Dodgers do. So we tend to forget that these other teams have all the same issues the Dodgers have plus some.
Yeah, and I think people, let's remember, if you're a team coming in to play the Dodgers or the Dodgers are coming to you, that's the biggest series of so far of your month.
It is. Good point.
Mike is spot on, on a lot of things he's saying. I love what Mike's doing. Mike's a stud. I talked to Mike. I text with Mike. I know who you are, Mike. Mike and I text. I know who this guy is. He's a stud. But, Casey, the Dodgers bring out the best in every team that they play. Every single team. The Cubs, it's fun to watch Bush and Bellinger. I hate to see that they're having success against us, but teams are playing. They want to beat the Dodgers. Dodgers have all this money. The Dodgers have this great lineup. Dodgers are having to bring it every single season, every single series, every game, and yet we still have the second best record in all of baseball. So again, Dodger fans, let's relax a little bit. The Dodgers take hit after hit, and hopefully this is getting them ready for every single game in the playoffs. That they're going to be ready for this playoffs because of what they're having to face. That's my tangent right there.
Yeah. Shiva Jones, what roster change will the Dodgers do to bring Teoscar off the IL? What was the corresponding move for Teoscar? Do you know?
Say that again.
The corresponding move for Teoscar on the 26th.
Ramirez?
Okay, Nick Ramirez. Okay.
Was it? I'm not sure.
Well, let me look it up. Coach, go ahead and dive into just something about tonight's game, and I will actually look that up.
I think tonight's is another big. I mean, every Dodger game seems to be big. I mean, I don't want to. The Dodgers get swept would be just unthinkable, right? But you know what? I think the numbers play out. The Cubs are really good on the road. And
Nick Ramirez.
It was
you nailed
okay.
it. Nick Ramirez. Yep.
Listen, I think the Dodgers are going to respond tonight. Dodgers are not getting swept. And if they are, then we're going to bounce back. And I don't know, it's the next series, Atlanta. We're going to go into Atlanta, the heat, the humidity, and we're going to take care of business. It's I'm just going to be Mr. Positive. I can't be negative about this Dodgers team. I love this team too much. I've had too much fun watching them, and that's just where I'm at.
Hey, Tomatley's in the house. Here's another great comment. This is not from Tomatley. Let's see. Yang Yi's bringing their A game tonight. Yang Yi Smith used to DH when he needed rest, but he can't now that Ohtani's on the team. Has that affected Will Smith? That's a good point, isn't it? So is there a little bit of you lose a little bit of Will Smith to add the Ohtani factor? That's a great point, Coach.
That's a great point that I haven't even thought of. And you're right. Yeah. You haven't seen Will Smith DH because you're not going to sit Ohtani, and Ohtani's probably not going to let himself get sat, right?
Yeah.
I think Will Barnes has had a lot of time behind home plate. I think we don't realize how much goes into being a catcher and being banged up all the time. And it goes to show you, we were talking about old school baseball, how good those guys were that they played every single day.
Yeah.
But if you go back to the old Dodgers, Yeager had Socia, right? Rick Dempsey. So, I mean, Will Smith, maybe Will Smith needs a couple days. Let Barnesy, who's not been playing bad, Barnesy have a couple days behind home plate. And are we going to ever rest Ohtani? If you rest Ohtani, you can put Will Smith in that DH spot.
Yeah. Only problem with Barnes, he doesn't throw runners out like Will Smith does.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a big problem because teams just steal the Dodgers blind. No doubt about that. I always say, Coach, Dodgers Dogs, as part of the Dodgers Daily Network, not the biggest crowd out there, absolutely the most intelligent conversation, and by far the best crowd out there of any Dodgers podcast. I will go with that to my grave.
I'll tell you, I have learned that also, Casey, that the Dodger Daily crowd is the best questions, the best thoughts, and it's not on the edge of their seats reactions. Right. It's detailed, thought out questions. And I talked to somebody last night who just became a fan of Dodgers Daily.
Oh yeah.
A lady named Carrie. Okay. And she said, we love the positivity. So that's nice. Good. It's what I was telling somebody today. I just don't understand why we want to be negative about a team we love. I get being a fan and you got your opinions, but I don't ever want to be negative about the Dodgers. It's a team I love. If somebody asked me, how would you be a Dodger fan always? I said, Dodgers went 0-162. I would still not miss a game and love this team. For God's sakes, hey, fans out there, I think Franklin Stubbs is the best player that ever played in Dodger uniform, and you could look up his stats and you'll think Coach Barakoff's crazy. But I just love the Dodgers. Like, I don't understand how you could be negative. And that's kind of where I'm at on this team. And as a Dodger fan, and yes, Casey and everybody out there, we want to win a World Series.
We get real on it. We have the tough conversations, but yes, it's done with
But they're educated tough questions and discussions. It's not emotional. And that's why I love being on here, and I love the people that come on here and they ask great questions. And all these names I'm getting familiar with, and they've never had a bad question. Yeah.
You talk about an absolute stud when it comes to baseball. Tomatley is in the house. Go read some of Tomatley's comments. I mean, like, he wrote one the other day. I think it's I'm assuming it's a he. If I say he and it's a she, please forgive me for that, because I can't see who you are on the screen, right? But Tomatley wrote a comment the other day, and like within 5 minutes, somebody went, wow, that was like gold star comment. I mean, it was. And I just responded, I'm not even going to stain that with even responding with anything.
Wow.
I just want to leave that as pristine as it was. So Tomatley's in the house. Tomatley says, I'm hoping Knack has the inside track over Miller and even Buehler for the postseason. He's improved over the season and coming off his best game. Less free passes. See, there you go. There is the conference. Okay, it's one thing to have an opinion, but here's why. Less free baseball, which matters in the postseason. And he's developing swing and miss. I said that earlier about Landon Knack. Because he relies on being efficient and execution, you kind of get that stigma to him that he doesn't strike guys out, but that part of his game is there. And then he doesn't give up free bases. That plays in the postseason just like big stuff plus stuff does.
Great point, because I think there's a few people I know. I'm a big Bobby Miller guy, but if Bobby Miller doesn't get it done tonight, I think tonight's a big decision for him. And I know there's some people that are kind of wanting to see what happens with that. My only issue with Knack is his home run ball.
Yes.
But he's right, or he or she is right. Landon Knack has really opened eyes, and I really like Landon Knack maybe is this guy how Gavin Stone has been this year, that Landon Knack picks up that baton and carries us into the playoffs. I would love to see it. If Landon Knack overtakes Bobby Miller and Walker Buehler, great. If he's going to be a stud for us, I'm all in on that deal. That would be amazing.
Hey, Coach, we have a comment for our moderator, Gregory. This goes back to the Dodgers showing up when it matters. Try this. The Dodgers have beaten the Orioles. They've beaten the Brewers, the Yankees, Cleveland. All of them in first place in their respective division. And then they just took down 3 out of 4 from the Snakes the other day.
So that goes back to my point. My gut was right. I mean, I didn't have the stats in front of me. I wanted somebody to fact check me, and I think I was correct on that, Casey. The Dodgers have always showed up in the big series. So, like, why are we worried about? I'm not worried about the Dodgers in a big series. This is what they've been built for, is the big series. This ho-hum drum, like playing the Angels, like they're built for this. Like this Padres series. Now, maybe, who knows? Maybe the Padres kick our you-know-what. But this is what they're built for.
Angels, the second Angels game of my fault, Coach.
Listen.
I got on and said they sucked ass, and then we got beat by 48 runs. That's my fault. My bad.
Nah, you listen. The Orange County Angels, forget about them. But listen, Dodgers are built for the big crowds, the big series, the top aces. Like this is what the Dodgers are ready for, and I'm fired up. Like I cannot wait to see the ups and downs of what's going to happen as we get into this playoffs, because we're in the playoffs. It's just where are we going to be?
Yeah. You know who Jeff Barakoff is? Jeff says he has your back.
Yeah, Jeff Barakoff. Let's go.
Something about that doesn't surprise me, right? Hey, Daniel Clark, thank you so much for joining us this evening. What's up, Casey? What's up, Dodgers Nation? What's up back yourself, Daniel? This is Can Think of One. Teoscar never went on the IL. He just got injured last series. Coach Barakoff was a Dodgers Andrew Jones fan. That's from Nando 390.
Dodgers Andrew Jones fan. He said I was an Andrew Jones fan?
Coach Barakoff was a Dodgers Andrew Jones fan. That's the comment.
Okay, sure. Love it. Whoever you are, bud, I love it. Let's go.
Manuel, love the Dodgers, but do not like Dave Roberts. We are Dave Roberts defenders, but we have been real about this talk, Coach. I'll bet if I asked you to describe the flaws I see in Dave Roberts, you'd be able to tell me. And that is that I think that he manages to the big picture too much. Sometimes his environments are too comfortable for the veterans, and because of that, I think he has a hard time pitching to results and to the bottom line, and he goes with his guys instead of the right guy from time to time. If I had criticisms of him, those would be it. But other than that, I'm a big Dave Roberts fan.
I'm a Dave Roberts fan. Like, I don't have to explain myself. The dude's a stud. I've asked other people in the past, and no one wants to give me an answer. Who else do you want?
Right.
This guy is a made to be for this Dodgers team. Yes, everything has changed about the rings, and we've been lucky as LA. I'm an LA person. Phil Jackson won a lot of rings, right? Tommy Lasorda won 2 rings. We had Joe Torre. Joe Torre couldn't get it done. Dave Roberts has at least won us a World Series.
What would social media look like right now if Joe Torre was going through the stretch he went through as a Dodgers manager?
Dodger fans, who else other than Dave Roberts? The guy is one of the winningest managers of all time. This is the guy. Why do we not want Dave? Anyways,
yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay to die on that hill, and I will.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Classic says it had to do with his duel against Shota Imanaga, talking about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I think that's a good point. I do think that played some in with Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Sean, hey, talk about another baseball stud. Sean is just off the charts smart when it comes to baseball, Coach. I'm loving everything you guys put out there. Dodgers haters can kick rocks. I absolutely love it. Tell us how you really think, huh?
Let's go. It's like, Casey, that's why I think why Coach Barikoff brings a crowd. 1, I love the Dodgers. 2, I'm not going to be negative. And 3, the Dodgers are my dudes.
Yeah.
Like, I go back. I'm the 1981 team, the 88 team, Franklin Stubbs. Like, those are studs. Oral Hershiser. Like, those are the dudes. Like, if you're wearing a Dodger uniform, I'm all in on you. And I'll admit, I wasn't in on Tommy Edman, but you know what? He put on the white and blue, and I'm all in on that dude. And if he's going to come up and help us win a World Series, that's what I'm here for. I don't understand why we're negative about our team that we love so much. I get the passion of the fan base, but yeah. I think I always look at it this way. The guys don't want to fail, so why are we wanting these guys to fail?
They feel the pressure, too. Dave's feeling the pressure this year, you can tell.
They know we're passionate.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Tamale says, I think Casey hit it right the other day. This is when I was on with Coach Holt. It doesn't feel as bad losing to the Cubs for some reason. Chalk it up to a charity case.
Wow, I love it. Okay.
That's awesome, right? If I'm a Cubs fan, I'm like, I'm not exactly sure how to feel about that comment, right?
That's good
Ela
stuff.
Shiva says Dave Roberts is the National League Manager of the Year. Mike agrees about Dave Roberts. Mr. Classic, no, that comment was for Rushing and Enriquez. Hey, and here's just food for thought, okay? Some other managers said, who else? That's the question, right? Joe Madden, I would say no to Joe Madden. He would be a terrible fit.
You won't
with
want
the Los
analytics.
Angeles.
He's an analytics guy.
Yeah. I think he would be a terrible fit with the Dodgers. Bruce Bochy would be a great manager no matter where he's at. Not going to happen. Maybe. I mean, but I think if you did Bruce Bochy's the top. I'm telling you, in the coaching ranks, you know as well as I do, the coaching ranks is very well networked. If the Dodgers did not do right by Dave Roberts, Bruce Bochy ain't coming to L.A. He's not going to do that if they screw Dave Roberts over. The only way a Bruce Bochy would come is if they felt like everything was done first class. It was just one of those deals and everything was on good terms. But he would not come to Los Angeles if he felt like Dave Roberts got a bad deal. Would you agree with that?
Yes. And first off, Dave Roberts isn't going anywhere.
Right.
That's just my opinion. If I'm wrong, then I'll take that. But he's not going anywhere. And you want Bruce Bochy? He's less animated than Dave Roberts.
Yeah, right. He is.
You watch Bruce Bochy manage. He sits there with his arms folded for 9 innings, like Dave Roberts does. So it's come on, guys.
And the Rangers aren't very good this year, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Gosh, they would think Dave Roberts is probably managing.
Yeah, right. Skip Schumacher is another name too. So Daryl Jackson says a lot of times I don't trust Dave Roberts. Here's another one before we move on from that conversation. What do you think about Chase Utley as a manager someday?
You want a guy that's going to be fiery and passionate, he would be great. Yeah, right?
Inexperienced.
Yeah, he's old school.
Okay, man. Hey, we're coming down to the end of this. We've had a great conversation. It's been a whole lot of fun. So, Coach, 162, you don't like to make any big deal out of any stretch. I mentioned that the Dodgers, since the beginning of September, are 4th in home runs in all of baseball, 5th in OPS, but only 11th in runs scored, which means you're going through another stretch to where you're relying too much on the home run to score. And Bobby Miller hasn't had a good outing his last time out. Buehler's outing wasn't good last time out, so your starting pitching is a little bit in flux. Evan Phillips didn't have a good outing last night. So there are a lot of things to worry about. But having said that, again, the Dodgers have the second best record in all of the major leagues. It's just a crazy emotion to be a Dodger fan right now because you're like, this is like the worst great team I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how else to put it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's because of how exciting the Ohtani signing was.
Right.
And I think it raised expectations to an unrealistic point of view. Like, let's be really thankful that Ohtani's a Hall of Famer and having this historic year. Could you imagine if Ohtani didn't year one produce like he's produced? That's how I look at it. I think that's where Dodger fans are. And again, when all this stuff was going down, I was like, my gosh, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, Max Muncy, this is incredible. But guys, we have the second best record. We've dealt with tons of injuries. We're heading into the playoffs. We're getting a chance to be in the playoffs, and I get it. Yes, Friedman was on saying, yes, we're disappointed that we're not, at the expectation we thought coming in, but that's what
that was coach speak. I felt like that was coach speak just to kind of simmer down the Dodgers fans. I think that was calculated.
Okay, good. So you're with me then on that.
Okay.
I just think, let's enjoy this. I think we're too stressed because we want to win a World Series as fans, and they do, but let's enjoy this. We're getting to the playoffs. Imagine if we didn't make the playoffs. We're getting to have a chance in the playoffs and rewrite some wrongs that we've had in the last few years, and I'm excited. That's what I'm going to say.
Can you see, though, like a guy like me who's a complete worrywart, I worry all the time, to where I'm saying, hey, there is a real scenario where the Dodgers don't have the right starting pitching to throw out there in the first round of the playoffs and bow out again?
Absolutely.
Can you talk me off that ledge?
No.
Is there a ledge that you can guarantee me that doesn't happen?
No, because I'm worried also. There's a lot of unknowns, Casey. There's a lot of unknowns. If we're being realistic, there's a lot of unknowns with this pitching staff. If you tell me Glasgow, Yamamoto, or Flattery are fully healthy and ready to go and can go a full 9, 3 games, yes, I would be devastated if the Dodgers didn't get out of the first series.
And shocked.
Shocked. But again, Freeman and Betts have to hit. Ohtani needs to hit. The Dodgers need to come up with some timely hitting. I don't want to look at the numbers from last year's playoffs. Freeman and Betts did not hit. So again, we need the right pieces to start hitting. That's playoff baseball is clutch hitting, right pitching, great defense. And I think,
Coach, it's been since Abner Doubleday invented the game: pitching, defense, and timely hitting. It's that simple. Last comment I'll make about this, though, from the offensive perspective, that's why you need Teo to come back strong, Max Muncy to get back to him. That's why you really need Will Smith to turn into Will Smith, because if Shohei doesn't hit or has a bad week, and Mookie and Freddie, the Dodgers need to have the ability to win games if that happens. They were not able to do that last year. They need to be able to do that this year. That's the only thing that's going to comfort me, I think, is if we go into it and I feel like they can do that.
Yes, and I don't want to have to sit on my couch and touch all my Dodger bobbleheads and wave my hat around. And I've got the Dusty Baker bobblehead.
And pray to Joe Boo and all that.
Yeah, and I got the Dusty Baker bobblehead being sent to me from my buddy Ray. But listen, I would love to sit back and watch a relaxing playoffs. But you know what? I'm thankful that we get a chance to watch playoff baseball. A lot of people don't. And I think this team's going to be ready. And that's my positive take on that.
Fantastic. You going to grow your hair back if the Dodgers win the World Series?
I don't know about that, but, I don't know.
Okay, Coach. It's been a lot of fun. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow doing the pitch clock for AAA Oklahoma City. So Hey, thanks a lot for joining, man. Hopefully we'll talk to you here later this week, and we'll get on for another show. Thanks, Coach.